And we are live. Welcome to Summer Spotlights. This is a series of conversations with women from different fields of work and business every Thursday evening from 8 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have been having awesome conversations with powerful women, inspiring, encouraging, and the feedback has been great. Different women have received nuggets that they can take from these conversations and apply them to their own life. And so this is good. And we have another powerful woman on this evening. Janet Sundberg is her name. She is the founder of Dirt to Dishes. Ladies, before we get started, you know what I'm going to say. Go and grab a cup of tea and get settled in. We are in for a treat tonight. And so I'm going to give you a few seconds to do that. And we are going to start the conversation and get it going. All right. Well, I have the honor this evening to have a conversation with Janet Sundberg. Janet Sundberg, again, as I said, she is the founder of Dirt to Dishes, and we're going to find out what Dirt to Dishes is all about. But before we do, Janet Sundberg, I want to welcome you. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Aisha. It's my pleasure. And what an amazing thing this is. Just women lifting up women and supporting women. And I'm super excited and really thrilled just to be here and share whatever I can about Dirty Dishes and the journey.
Awesome. I'm so glad. And so, before you get started on that journey with us, can you tell us a little bit about who Janet Sundberg is?
Well, yes, I can. So, Janet Sundberg is, I guess, my day job in some respects is I'm a teacher. I teach middle school. I'm also a pastor's wife. I'm a mom of three amazing adult women. I'm a grandma of two amazing grandkids. But all of those, that describes me in my relationship to other people. I guess for me and myself, I think I'm a creative being, and I've always been looking for that creative outlet. And I believe in the last few years, I've found it just the perfect fit for me with Dirty Dishes.
Awesome. This is great. And so, as you mentioned Dirt to Dishes, can you tell us a little bit about what Dirt to Dishes is? And and as well, can you tell us the change that you want to make in your business, Dirt to Dishes?
Okay. Yeah, Dirty Dishes, it's kind of funny. When I go to different markets and places, people kind of are in two categories. They look at the name and they go, oh my gosh, that's so clever. Or they look at the name and go, can you explain that to me? So I will explain it just in case. So I literally probably alienated everyone I know when I was trying to come up with the name for my business. It was like I wanted it to be kind of cool and organic and elemental and whatever. So Dirt to Dishes is what I came up with my for my pottery business, because basically you start with dirt and you turn it into dishes or something like that, right? So yeah, so I think it fits. So Dirt to Dishes Pottery is my business, and I think it started. Well, I don't know when it started, to be honest. In my heart, you know how, I don't know if you're like this or not, Aisha, or anybody else listening, but there are passions that we have in us that don't make a lot of sense sometimes. Like an extreme love. I have an extreme love of lavender. What? Why? I don't know. I don't know, but I love everything about it. Well, pottery is in that category to me. And I never didn't have a ton of money to spend on pottery, but every time we went on vacation, the whole family knew mom has got to stop and get some pottery, just as a way to sort of remember the place and remember the time with something beautiful. And so that's what I always did. And while that made me very happy, there was always a little bit in there that, not sadness, but just a little something where I wish that I made it. That there was something in me. It wasn't enough to have that mug. I wanted to make it and to know how to make it. And but again, it's just one of those, life is busy, it's expensive, I don't know where to go. And just an amazing conversation, really, seemingly random, with a potter at an art studio. And we just kind of hit it off. And she just said, would you be interested at all in being my intern? And I thought, I don't even know what you expect of me, but yes. I totally want to be your intern. And so that's sort of where my pottery journey, the love of it began way before, but my pottery journey for real started then. And so for a couple of years, I drove way out to this other studio and I worked for her cleaning, and there's always cleaning to be done in the studio. And then I took classes from her as kind of a payment. So it was a great situation. And then after a couple of years, I thought, I think I need to just branch out on my own. And I think I'm ready to do that. So I saved up all my money and I bought my pottery wheel back there. And the wheel actually was delivered about 2 weeks before everything shut down in COVID, which is very interesting. And because I remember it was Family Day weekend just before when it arrived, and I told my family, I love you. I will be downstairs. And that's pretty much where I've been ever since then. So,
Interesting.
yeah. So that's kind of where all of that came from. And the very first time my hands touched the clay on the wheel, I thought I was going to cry. Like just one of those, yes, this is the thing. There's something so grounding and beautiful, even though very messy, about the clay. And when last year, when I was teaching online, it was stressful and kind of crazy. No one knew what was going on. And I would do my thing and try to be so, get it all right and get prepared for the next day. And I'd be kind of frazzled. And I would come down here to my studio and think, oh, I don't even think I can make anything today. Like I'm just kind of messed up and a bit too stressed out. And I'd sit down there on the wheel and touch the clay, and it would be minutes before I would notice I'm totally relaxed. And I'm just like
Awesome.
enjoying myself. And really, you're touching the ground, right? It's
Yeah.
clay. And so
Yeah.
it's very grounding in just by its nature. So it's a lot of fun just to be, I mean, some days stuff tanks and it's just not the day, right? But that's the silver lining is you get to try again another day and always kind of stretching and moving forward. And so you're asking what my sort of what I would like to change or moving forward.
Yeah, actually, before you answer that, I just wanted to touch on something that you were talking about, and I just want to address those who are watching. And so, ladies, Janet was talking about having a passion inside of your heart, and if there is a passion inside of your heart, to pursue it. And as she was saying, things were expensive, and she didn't have the classes yet, etc., but it's step by step, and she started as an intern and she took classes, and now she has her own studio. And so, ladies, I just want to encourage you that whatever your passion is, it's like a fire. Don't let it die and die out, but there's a reason for that passion, and pursue it and see what the first step is, right? It's a journey and it takes time, but I think the most important thing is taking the first step, and also maybe finding, as Janet, she worked for, like, she was an intern for someone, right? So it's kind of like shadowing someone. So maybe that's something that you can look into, ladies, based on the passion that you have. So Janet, I'm so glad you brought that point up.
And that's the thing. Sometimes when you have that passion, but you don't have the outlet for it yet, there are so many barriers. There's just going to be barriers. That's just the way it is. And it's easy with life, blah, 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 whatever we have going on. It's easy to just see the barriers. But if you can break it down, so if I ever thought, oh, I think I'm going to build a pottery studio in my basement and then get a wheel and get all this stuff, that's overwhelming. But to break it down and go, you know what, I'm going to find one person, one class, one whatever it is, and just go for it. And I have been talking to so many people since COVID that have done just that. And I have a friend who just is passionate about health and helping other women find their optimal health. Well, she's just started and launched her program. Like, so it's really been a time to think it over, and that we've been given that time to do that. And don't miss your moment. Just really don't miss your moment, and break it down into those little steps. And then it might not even be, maybe you don't know what your passion is. And sometimes I was talking to somebody today and they're like, I haven't found my thing yet. I'm like, yeah, well, keep on, just try a little thing, and you might try that thing and then go, that's not exactly it. But then you get your next step once you've taken one step. You don't often get the next three steps while you're sitting on your couch.
Exactly. I love that point, and I'm actually going to write that down, Janet, when you said, don't miss your moment, and just breaking it into little steps. I think that's what the word that you use, breaking it into little steps. And so, as you said, it's more manageable as opposed to looking at the whole picture and thinking, I can't even start. And as you indicated, that there are barriers, in any business that we have, work that we may have, opportunities that we may be pursuing, absolutely there are barriers. And I would like you to share with us, Janet, a couple of barriers or challenges that you have had in having your business Dirt to Dishes, and how did you overcome them, or how are you overcoming them?
Well, that's a very good question. I think initially, one of the barriers was cost.
Mm-hmm.
That the equipment costs, all of that stuff, and I don't know, just the way that's where we were kind of at that moment. It was hard to sort of get a bunch of money together to sort of do a thing. And so I just feel like God knew the desire of my heart and was like, I think it's time to gift this to Janet. And just that series of conversations but you find where there's a will, there's a way. I just taught piano lessons till my brains were going to come out. And I saved all that money toward my wheel. I looked in my basement a couple of summers ago and was just like, what can I sell on Facebook Marketplace or on Kijiji that I can all go in the same envelope? And I did. So it took maybe not quite a year, but it took a good chunk of time. And then, so that was kind of breaking it down. Now it's a little easier because I sell lots of pottery. So like my kiln did a weird thing and I have to get it fixed. Well, that's okay because I also just sold a bunch of pottery. So it evens out a
It
little.
balances, yeah. Before you maybe talk about another challenge, I just love that. Like, so one of the challenges that Janet was speaking about is cost. And then she said, just looking throughout the house and just seeing things that you don't need anymore. And, you know, okay, how can you get rid of it? By putting it on Facebook Marketplace, Kijiji, etc. And so that's an idea that is possible if you need money for your passion, right? And also to feed your passion. And the other thing that Janet was saying, so she has the skill of being able to teach piano, and so she was able to use the funds from that too to be able to buy the necessary materials for her pottery business. And so just think about the skills that you have, how you can use them in order to be able to deal with or feed your passion and so forth. I think that's an amazing thing. Like, the important thing is don't give up, and just don't throw your hands up and say, I can't do it. There's, as Janet said, there where there's a will, there is a way. And yeah, Janet, is there another challenge or barrier that you had in addition to cost?
Oh, sure. And I was going to say too, when people around you see that determination, people start helping, or
Yeah.
they start, you know what I mean? They start going, oh, do you know what? I have a friend and she wants to sell this thing, but she can't be bothered. But she said, you can have half the money if you sell it for her. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's what my name is, whatever. I'll do that. That's easy, whatever. But people are attracted to that
Mm-hmm.
passion when somebody's eyes are lit up, when somebody's on fire about something, and it does seem to just attract help.
I love that.
Yeah, I've definitely experienced that. I would say, in terms of another barrier, sometimes it's finding the people.
Hmm.
So, who's going to buy my pottery? Because I can't keep it all. And it was just about a year ago, a little over a year ago, when I decided to I sold a little bit of stuff on social media or to friends that I knew, like just kind of saying, hey, anybody want this? It's such and such, whatever. But I got a little bit braver and did an Etsy shop. So my Dirt to Dishes Etsy shop. And so it's interesting. I wasn't anticipating the feelings that I felt about doing that. It was like, this is me. And I hope someone wants it. That it was a very vulnerable feeling of just, there's some things you can do, perform some tasks or, whatever, and it's not so personal, but some things really are. And this felt like it's almost like you served up a meal and you hope people like it, or like it's something. And so I learned a lot about Etsy from other people. I've got family members that also have Etsy shops, and so they were very generous and helpful, and just find those people. Um, and then that so it was like, okay, that's fine. It's building up steam, whatever. September, back to teaching, but I was home, and so I could come down to my studio. I was not anticipating once October got here, boom, everything took off like crazy. I started making just with leftover clay Christmas ornaments, and was like, I don't know, I'll try. I don't know, whatever. I think this was one of the original ones right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's got like
Yes.
gold, and it's got this little texture on it. It's kind of shiny. I don't think the shiny's coming up. It was so simple, so simple. But then I looked and thought, but if I saw that in the store, I'd like it. So maybe someone else will. I sold so many ornaments, Aisha. Like I just was like, okay, I gotta keep making ornaments.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
it
And
was
that's via Etsy?
it was, but then I also, in that meantime, did a Instagram dirt to dishes, and then
Okay.
a Facebook dirt to dishes.
Awesome.
I post up, and usually now I will post things on Facebook and Instagram first, and then I'll wait a few days because I was putting them on Etsy, which takes some time, and then
Yeah.
I noticed, oh, I already sold this on Facebook, and then, oh, okay, I did all that for nothing. So I kind of do. So learning those sort of strategies of where that might not be everybody's strategy, but learning those kinds of things of, okay, this seems to be the pattern in my world with my people. So constantly trying to find more people. So,
Okay.
and interestingly, then, so that big, whoo, I was expecting after Christmas for it to kind of die down. And it really only died down for a couple of weeks in January and then woo, back up again. So, um,
That's amazing.
yeah, until probably I think maybe when things started opening up a bit more and the weather started getting nice, and then it's kind of died down. And summertime, Etsy really died down, honestly. But the other, I do Leslieville Market, which is down by the beaches, sort of in Leslieville. It's once a month. Actually, it's not this Sunday, but next Sunday. So I do that one. And have sold lots of things at the market. It's a lovely market, but
That's great.
yeah.
That's great. And ladies, what something Janet was saying is she in terms of opening the Etsy what would you call it, like a Etsy store, right?
Whatever. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, Etsy store online. She was saying to be brave. It's about being vulnerable. And so, ladies, sometimes we have to be brave. We need to be courageous in doing something that we haven't done before. And, Janet had support around her to be able to ask questions, to be able to see how to set up the Etsy store, etc. And so sometimes, there's something that you do want to do and you're just afraid to, what if it doesn't work? Or what if I make a mistake, etc. But you know what? You learn from that. It's so important to be brave, to be courageous. And as Janet was saying, she had to be vulnerable and, put her pieces on there and see, will anyone purchase it? And to her surprise and amazement, it took off like wildfire. And so, ladies, it's time to be brave. The season is now, ladies. This
Absolutely. And I don't want to fool anyone or give a false impression that I was like, well, I'm just going to be brave and I'm sure this is going to be great. I was still thinking, I don't know. I don't know if this was going to be any good, but I'm going to do it anyway. And it didn't cost anything to try, those kind of things. And so that's really what, to me, what bravery is. It doesn't mean you're suddenly super confident, like I've got the most amazing thing and everyone's going to want it. I don't know, but I just knew I want to do this so badly, and I'm just going to give it a try and see what happens. But I cannot explain to you the thrill of when you make a sale. And so on Etsy, it does a sound when someone buys something, it goes cha-ching, and it's just like, and it scares me every time. It's kind of loud. So if I have my sound on, and it's just every time, even now, I just look and go, oh, who's gonna buy this and where do they live? And I've sent things to Scotland and to England and
Wow.
France, and it's thrilling to me to see where people are, it's a platform I wouldn't otherwise have. So yes, absolutely scared. And still sometimes, well, I don't know now, but because I go to the same market, but setting up for a market going, man, I hope I make my money back of what this table cost me. Like and then it's so exciting at the end of the day when you just go, yes. And the conversations, which is so nice about in person, the conversations that you have with people where they want to know about this piece. And there's some pieces where there's a crocheted piece, this right here, which is dreadfully dirty because I use it with brown clay, but it's something that my grandmother crocheted well over 100 years ago. And
Wow.
I put it on the clay and I think I have one. Oh, it's not, I don't have a finished one right here, but you get the idea. I made this snowflake ornament. And so it's not glazed or anything, but you can kind of see grandma's texture in there. And
Nice.
so having those kind of conversations, or this one, I made this tray I made with lavender from my garden. So I'm trying to see if
Oh,
you
wow.
can picture in there. So I roll the clay out and then I push the lavender in. It's
Oh,
the best smelling day in my studio. It just like, smells so nice.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I like that. And I like, ladies, what Janet was saying. And well, a couple of things. I'll start off with when she goes to Leslieville, the market, not only is she selling the pieces, but having conversations. And so ladies, with your business, your field of work, it's not just about what it is that you're selling or your service that you're providing, etc., but conversations that you may be having, connections that you may be making, just pouring into the lives of others with words of encouragement, just as Janet is doing right now. And so just think about your passion, think about what you're doing, and that, what, you are making a difference. And something else that Janet mentioned, that her pieces have gone as far as Scotland, England, etc. And so with what you're doing, who knows how far it's going to go. And so it's a matter of just taking that step and stepping out of the boat. Or if you're doing it already, just think how much further it can go. Just as Janet's pieces have been sold to countries outside of North America, it's amazing. It's amazing. And so, Janet, if you could give a couple pieces of advice for ladies who are thinking, hey, I'd like to get into the pottery business, what are two pieces of advice that you can give, Janet?
Oh, let me think about that. I would say the first one is be patient. I think because I had this big passion to do this, I thought, oh, well, I'm going to be like the best student this person's ever had. And I'm going to just like, whoop. No, it's hard. It's really hard. So if you see a piece of pottery and you go, well, I could get that for a lot less at Walmart. Well, that's why, because it's really hard to do, but very satisfying, and each piece being so unique. So, yes, to kind of like when I was learning to make a mug, my advice that I received was make 10 and grow and learn from that. And so I kind of try to do that when I'm and extend myself. So like some of these pieces behind me, you can't maybe really tell how big they are, but I'm constantly, you can't just decide to make a big bowl, for example. You can, because there's a muscle memory involved, you have to move in increments of 100 grams up and then figure out that, I don't know. And so, but I'm stretching myself all the time to try to make something bigger. And so just always trying those little challenges to just sit down and go, well, I'm going to make a fruit bowl for the family. nope, probably not going to do that your first time out of the gate. But to have that goal in mind and to think, I'm on my way to that fruit bowl that I'm going to make for my family, and to continue to work on that. But patience, patience, patience for sure. A second piece of advice, I think, hmm, I think maybe just be adventuresome and in your work, but also in your planning to just think, "Oh, I'm going to try and see what these colors look like together." And there's one piece I have right here this was my biggest bowl at one point, not anymore, but I love the copper in it. And just to
Nice.
like layer these and see what would that look like? What does it look like when you put white on top of that copper? And just kind of trying different things. And this one right here is a planter, so it's got a hole in the bottom. And a lot of times I name them. So when I put them on Etsy or whatever, so this one is called the forest floor because I felt,
Very
I don't know
nice.
if you can see the colors in there, but it just felt kind of like the forest floor. So just finding new and improved creative ways. Oh, in the winter, I thought I'm going to make a set of bowls and I'm going to make them a specific color. Like I made some yellow or like kind of mustardy colored bowls, soup bowls. And then I marketed them as like corn chowder, for the fall and sent my recipe with them for
Oh,
my
nice.
chowder that I make, those kinds of things. So just trying to find, I think when I first made these stars, I made a bunch of copper stars and I put a little message in there, almost like a fortune from a fortune cookie, and put it in this pretty little organza bag. And people could give a Christmas wish to their friend. And so you could just put it in there and it would just be like, I know this time of lockdown is hard, but I miss you and I want you to know I was thinking about you, and send that to a friend. So constantly, my brain is constantly on fire with marketing ideas, but talking to people, getting good people around you who can help. I've helped so many people navigate Etsy for one thing, because I had so many people help me. And so what I've learned that you just pass it on. So stick with it for sure. And one of the other things is just, especially when I'm in person on at the market, you talked about that networking with people. I have met a lot of people. While we were allowed to have outdoor markets, we were not allowed to have indoor classes. And so many people saying, I want to have classes whenever you can, say something on Instagram so I'll know when you're going to be having classes. Well, now I can have classes. And so in a limited capacity, and now because of those conversations, I'm getting ready to start. So I have a bunch of
Awesome.
whatever, just being patient and waiting for those times and navigating the kind of gathering your people.
Yes, yes. That's great, Janet. So, ladies, as Janet was talking about advice, she was mentioning to be patient, talking about stretching yourself, extending yourself, being creative. And she, putting an extra touch to what she does. So she doesn't just send the pottery, but, she added, for example, a recipe with her bowl, or she added a wish with her ornament star. And so think about what you do and what can you do to make that touch, to make it so when someone receives it, they're like, okay, yeah, that was from Janet Sundberg, Dirt to Dishes. Like you just know. And so think about it. Maybe you're doing it now, or maybe it's something that you need to think about to put that touch on so that they know that is from so and so, And as Janet was saying, of course, in terms of being patient, gathering the people, and in time, as she was saying, then she can have the in class studio classes, which she's about to start. But it came in time. It didn't just happen right away. And so, ladies, be encouraged. I hope that you're able to gather some good nuggets. We are coming to an end, Janet, and I just wanted you to share with us, what do you define as success? This will be our last question for the evening. What do you, in terms of Dirt to Dishes, what do you define as success for you in this business?
That is an excellent question. And I have thought of that same question myself. Is it when you hear the cha-ching on Etsy? Is that success? And that's very nice. So don't get me wrong. It's nice when it's financially successful. But to me, it's success is being able to do the thing that I love, and it's my dream come true, and also seeing other people love what I do enough to where I can continue doing it. I can keep buying more clay. I can keep buying. I bought another pottery wheel this week. So it's financially, it's nice, um, but it's just being able to have that outlet that I've searched for my whole life. That's one level of success. Now, if I was making stuff and no one was buying it, I'd have to rethink what that would be, because the financial stuff, I don't have like a financial goal. I sometimes have things in my head about how I hope that I sell this much, but I just keep working and doing it, and it just seems to take care of itself for the most part. So, which I'm very thankful for.
That is great. And I'm grateful that you shared what you define as success from your business, Dirt to Dishes. And I pray continuous success. I pray for grander ideas. And I pray that the remainder of this year will surpass the times before. And, that the Lord will bring in new clients, new people, new ideas, new opportunities with Dirt to Dishes, and expand it beyond what you're even dreaming right now. And so, Janet Sundberg, we are so grateful for your time and sharing with us about your pottery business, Dirt to Dishes. Thank you for joining us, Janet.
Thank you so much, Aisha, and everybody else. This is a fantastic idea, and thank you for helping me to share what I love to do. And if anybody wants to take a look at my pottery, you can certainly look up Dirt to Dishes on Etsy. I'm more active, probably even on Instagram and Facebook, and it's just Dirt to Dishes. I'm starting to teach those classes right now, starting to do little ornaments, little snowman ornaments, or this little Santa ornament. We're starting to do some of those things. And so I've got those open right now, and there's information on there, and they'll be happening over the fall for sure. But yeah, thank you
Yeah,
so much.
you're welcome. So that's perfect. So, ladies, you heard how you can get connect with Janet in terms of buying pottery pieces or even taking classes. And so check it out because there's so many different types of pottery pieces that she creates, from bird cottages to mugs to plates to bowls to dog dishes to pottery spoons. There's so much, so check out her business, and you can purchase it for yourself or for somebody else. So yes, so thank you so much, Janet.
Thank you, Aisha. It's been my absolute pleasure.
Thank you. And so I just wanted to, before we end, just a couple of things. Talk about next week's guest. Next week's guest, we're going to have Tanya Adderley, who is a worshiper and singer songwriter. So another powerful woman who will be sharing with us next week. And ladies, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to Rise with Hope, where you'll be able to hear conversations with women from different fields of work and business, and other videos that I have just to encourage women, just to inspire, to empower. And so take a look, subscribe, don't forget. And we've come to an end, ladies. So enjoy the